जयपुर वाया कोटा।
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत।
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೈ
Hyderabad Bhattacharjya Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন। कृपया ध्यान दियो।
Hello and welcome to Cricbuzz Live. What has just happened? Mumbai has annihilated Hyderabad. Did I say that correct? Annihilated. Annihilated. Annihilated.
Annihilated, yes.
And inhibited?
Yep.
They've pretty much walked all over Hyderabad. Easy words. Easy words. Because that's what they did with this chase. It was easy work for them. 200. And if you remember, and if you don't, I'm here to remind you that before this chase started, Polly and I were talking about how they'll get this done in 17 or 18, right?
They just took the extra 3 balls just because they wanted to get Cameron Green his century. Otherwise, they would have finished in 17 sharp.
Right. That's right. They were being a little selfish and not thinking about us, but thinking about themselves. But that's fine. Polly, in this case, we'll give it to them because he deserved that 100, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He played really well. He's been a real revelation for them. I mean, he's played some wonderful innings for them throughout this campaign, and he really does have those long levers and strikes it beautifully, particularly playing at the Wankhede Stadium. I think that surface is perfectly suited for him, similar to what you get in Australia, bounce, pace, ball coming on, and he's done a great job when he's played there.
Yeah, and of course, the early wicket fell of Ishan Kishan, and then Cameron Green had to come in and he took that mantle up really well, and that's why he is our Omni-Gel relief and recovery performer of the match, getting his 100 of just 47 balls. That went by very quick. I didn't learn the rest of it. I just saw 2. 100 of 47.
5 sixes, 4 fours. He just smashed the bowling to all ends of the ground.
I like this team effort of ours.
147, but just absolutely amazing effort. And the important thing is that...
8 fours and 8 sixes.
Oh, oops. What happened to me?
Okay.
I read the wrong card.
2.
8 fours and 8 sixes, 212 strike rate. That is absolutely amazing. And the one thing was, if you remember, Rohit ended up pretty well. But at the start, Rohit was going at barely a run a ball. And at that point, it was Cameron Green who was keeping them attached to the run rate, making sure it never went above that 11 and a half.
Yeah.
And I think that is important because he was counter-attacking up front. And after they lost that first wicket, between 20 and 60, 65, 70, it basically was Cameron Green who was attacking.
Yeah, I mean, Polly, some of those hits were just so clean.
Yeah, I think his ability to just hit the ball straight down the ground, the spinners, if they throw it up fractionally and it's slightly overpitched, he just hits through the line and smashes it over the top. And anything that's dragged down short, he works away through deep mid-wicket almost with a straight bat as well. So he's got the power. He stands in a position where he's ready to deliver. And he really is, as I say, enjoys the ball coming on and strikes it cleanly.
Well, it's really no surprise, though. Even though they lost that wicket early, you knew it would not be a surprise because they have all that batting. And today, Cameron Green got up and scored 100. What is it? The 9th 100 in this edition of the tournament.
Yeah.
Is that the most ever? I would have.
No, that's
must check that.
Must be worth looking at. It must be among the highest. Because
at least in terms of the different centurions.
Yeah.
Normally, you have somebody scoring 4. Virat George Butler's done that.
Exactly.
But this time, Cameron Green wrote his name down on the list. And more importantly, on a very important day. A very important match. That's why a very, very important knock. He's our Omni-Gel relief and recovery performer of the match. He ensured that there was no dirt for fans, especially the Mumbai fans, because Mumbai has picked up those 2 points. They are at 16 now. And that means they're sitting pretty, waiting for that second game to happen. The result of the Bangalore game versus Gujarat will determine whether Bangalore goes through or Mumbai. But one thing is for sure, Joy, that Rajasthan is out.
Rajasthan is out. That's what I wanted to say. Rajasthan is out because with this result, they can't catch up anymore.
Yeah.
So now it is up. If the rain persists and there's no game, of course, Mumbai go through. If the rain comes, I think it's a simple thing. RCB just has to win.
Yeah, just has to win, basically.
Just has to win.
But the problem is that it is raining there.
Apparently, it stopped again.
The thing is that it stopped raining there. And now it started again. And it stopped again. Because that's what's been happening for the last few hours. But anyway, let's just talk about the Mumbai game, because happy days for Mumbai. Happy days for Mumbai also because their captain Rohit Sharma today checked in, got a good score, got a good knock today, Polly. They'd be happy with that, Mumbai.
Yeah, I mean, their batting prowess has been fantastic. I think they would be probably the most feared top 6 or 7. It's just been really Rohit who's been missing in action. He hasn't been striking it like he can. And the fact that he gets this runs, if they do manage to squeak in, if the rain does the job and they get to Chennai and have to play in that first eliminator, then, it's all good signs for them. They got to back their batting strength. He is a class player and he's got a score under his belt now, so they're even more dangerous.
Yeah, when he started though, Joy, it looked like he wasn't getting the timing right, but that got better.
That got better. In fact, that one over, first, Vivrant bowled those few balls and he got him and he hit them. And then I think Umran Malik came on and he managed to hit him for 3-4s. And I think it's players like Rohit and all, even when they're off form, they get that one chance, 1 or 2 easy balls to hit the ball, suddenly get a bit of confidence and things change totally. Yeah. After that, he was a different player. He started off with a run rate of less than 100 and he goes up to 150. So there's something there and he's checked in. Also, importantly, remember, whatever happens, they will have to play a qualifier at Chennai, eliminated at Chennai. And Chennai, the kind of pitch it is, sticky pitch and all that, you need somebody like a Rohit who can play spin as well. Yeah. Because remember, Cameron Green has done fantastically, as Paulie has been talking about here. But will Cameron Green enjoy the surfaces of the Chepauk is something, it's a completely different story.
No, he won't.
And LSG has a fair amount of spin in their armory.
Yeah, no, he won't. Of course, Bangalore fans, relax. It's just ifs and buts, right? We're just discussing possibilities.
Calm them down.
Yeah. Joy is not saying that Bangalore is not qualifying. They still have to play their game. And if they win, their net run rate might get them to edge ahead of Mumbai. That's if they win. Of course. What did the Hyderabad bowlers do? They've just... Yes, sorry, Polly?
There's no Bangalore fans watching this show. They are all praying at the moment for the rain to go away.
Yeah. They're not watching because they have their eyes shut, but they are listening.
Okay.
They are listening. Come on, Bangalore fans, pray harder. We want the rain to go away and we want a game. Yeah, we really want a game there. What did the Hyderabad bowlers do? Well, they've just had a season to forget, haven't they? They tried 7 bowlers today. Did Markram. He just didn't know who to turn to after a while. I mean, he just came and bowled the one ball because Kartik Tyagi was taken off.
Yeah, that tells you the season. He was taken off for bowling 2 above waist high, no balls. I mean, basically. And it just sums up the season for them. Just none of these bowlers had rhythm. Kartik Tyagi barely played 2 or 3 matches. Umran Malik dropped because he was, very profligate, comes back, gets smashed in this over. Vivrant, bowls 2 good balls and then bowls again a full toss above, goes out of the attack. It's just been a mess. And if you look at it, for a final match, okay, other than Bhuvi, which other bowler is there who's experienced? There's not a single experienced bowler out there.
Yeah.
These are kids trying their very best. And if they, if you're a kid and you're going out there, it's a wankhead, it's difficult to bowl anyway. Somebody like Cameron Green, big 6 feet 4 inch guy smashing you for 6s. Yeah. Your head, shoulders are bound to droop. And that's when you need experienced guys out there to say that, okay, I know how to bowl to this guy.
Yeah.
And what you didn't see, which you saw a lot towards the end of the Mumbai innings, was there was much more guile out there. Paulie was talking about great field settings. Okay, let them hit on one side. Yeah. Chris Jordan, the way he bowled. And when they got the new batsmen, they sort of put pressure on them. Yeah. None of that happened in this end. You could make out Markram was just going through the motions. And that's sad because I think they gave up 10 overs before the match was over.
Yeah, fair assessment. Do you think, Paulie, it was just droopy shoulders?
Yeah, I think that. I think also it was a case in point of just giving guys chances. The 2 faster guys, it was always going to be difficult for them to control things on that kind of surface. I mean, Sharma bowls the over. Mayank Makande doesn't even get introduced. He would want to be the one you would think you would get back in as your impact player and maybe you'd have a part to play. But that wasn't to be the case. And it seemed to me like the responsibility given to those players at that time was more, well, maybe for next year, let's have a look what they're capable of rather than really trying to defend that 200. They obviously wanted to. But
I think we lost Paulie's audio there. But Bhuvi, we have to talk about Bhuvi because while everything was getting squandered and everybody was getting battered to all parts of the park, Bhuvi, using his experience, using his guile, has managed to get away. You see what he's done. So he's pretty much the only one who held up that Hyderabad bowling, did his job. But yeah, you need help, Polly. You need help from the others as well.
Your friend.
And it's just such a tough surface. And it's against such a good and motivated batting unit because they wanted these 2 points. And a score which is not too high on this ground. I guess they really did have their backs against the wall.
Yeah, they would have also looked around and seen, okay, well, who have they got in their bowling attack? Bhuvi, and then who else? Well, let's be selective about what we do against Bhuvi. We don't have to be over the top. We don't have to take him down. We don't have to do anything astronomical against him. There's plenty of other runs coming from the bowlers that we're going to meet on the day. So, I mean, he's good. He used his skills well. He bowled nasty, he bowled good control, got the ball to nip around, as he usually does, and you just come to expect that from him.
Yeah, and now that takes us to the part I used to just hate when I was a kid. It was disgusting. It was like, and I had to go get my report card. I was like, I do not like this. But we have to do that for Hyderabad. Joy and Polly will now... What happened?
Yeah, look, Polly, I'll have to do the signing because, we'll take it to... you can't take it to the parents of the Sunrisers. What do we do? Give it to the owners. This is your report card. Get it signed by the owners and bring it back.
I don't know if you want to...
I don't think that'll go down very well.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. We start with bowling.
I mean, there's somebody here who's taken...
Who knows a little bit about bowling.
A little bit about bowling. A few international wickets here and there.
Here and there, smattering.
Where would you put them, Polly?
Yeah, I think if you look, I mean, so I was a little bit disappointed with Janssen. I thought maybe he could have done a little bit more. He was good in the power plays. Bhuvi was a good bowler. Imran Malik didn't hit the straps he was going. Mayank Markande, all right kind of tournament. I suppose if I had to assess all of them and put it in, I don't know, would I be too generous at giving them a 7?
I would. I mean, my point is that if you've given Kolkata for their bowling, which was pretty decent, especially their spin a 6, I'd just say that, is it as good as Kolkata? If Kolkata is a 6, then I'd go somewhere closer to a 5. Given that, I'm just looking at it relatively. Okay. I think he's one of those nice guys.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. Give them a 7 and all that.
It's true, it's true. So, using 5. Polly, is your final thing 7?
I'll go, final will be 6.
6.
I'll go with 6.
All right, so 5 and 6, I'm going to take an average out of that, which is
5 and
4.
7. 5.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, we don't want to see your report card if your average is 4.
I just made it up myself. I just added things. Hey, I got 4 marks in one paper and 4 marks in another paper, which means I got 44%. That's how I do it. What about their batting? So we give them 5.5 for their bowling. What about for their batting? There was 1 century from Klaasen. Yeah. There was another knock from Klaasen, another knock from Klaasen. Then there was some from Klaasen. Yeah. Then there was another, and then there was 1 knock from Harry Brook. Yeah, and then Klaasen. Yeah, and Klaasen.
Suddenly, like a shooting star. Harry Brook, gone.
Yeah, gone. That's right.
1 century against Kolkata. He had to, of course.
Yeah, and it was a long time back, so it seems like it was in the last century. Yeah. But that was that, and of course it was a Heinrich Klaasen show. Nothing from their openers. Right, no matter how many they tried.
Finally got it only in the last
game, yes. But you'd have to say...
they had 1 knock, didn't he?
What?
1 knock, didn't he, at the top?
1 knock. Well, Mayank had 1 knock and there was, I think, 1 other knock.
No, 29 or something before this.
No, 49.
49. Sorry, there was a 49.
You got a 49.
Yeah. There was a 49 before this, but otherwise, Abhishek didn't have the kind of season he had last. Moved his position up and down. Played 1 game, dropped him.
I think, again, it's a revolving chairs policy.
Rahul Tripathi didn't check in this time, which was very surprising and saddening for me as a Tripathi fan. Captain didn't get too many runs.
No.
So basically, it was Klaasen. Yeah. So what do you give them?
I reckon they fail.
Yeah.
So what's a failure?
Fail is a 4.
50% was a failure.
No.
If you got under 50?
Really? No, 33% in high school. Sir, 50 I would have never passed. I would have still been in 8th grade right now. Meeting the fathers of my fellow 8th graders saying, what up, bro? So, all right, so you're giving them 4? 5? 4.5. And you?
4.5. I'll stay with 4.5.
So good. So then it's 4.5. I don't need to
calculate it.
Yeah, management. All right. Frequent changes in personnel, frequent changes in batting order, confusion, people going up and down. Captain stating previous.
Exactly. I think that two things that I always look at when you look at team management. One is number of changes in a lineup which are not necessitated by injury. One is injury. You can't do very much about that. A coach has to. But number of lineup changes which is not due to injury, and as you said, lack of communication between coach and skipper. And I'd say it's a failing grade for me. It's a 4.
Okay, 4 for them. And Polly, for you?
Yeah, I suppose the only thing for me from a manager's perspective is you don't know actually what's going on behind the scenes. Batting, bowling, we see it all in the middle. It's live, it's in front of us. I mean, there were a couple of interviews that you listened to, and Brian, for example, was saying how this is his first go at it, and he's obviously learned along the way. I'll give them a 5.
Okay, 4.5 then.
Oh, I got some good news. I'm sorry.
It's
some good news on the Cricbuzz app that the toss in Bangalore is going to happen at 7:45 and the match is going to begin at 8.
We have a match.
We have a full game from the looks of it. All you people who are in Bengaluru, if you can just look up at the sky, look up at the weather update and tell us that it's not going to rain for the remainder of the game and stick to your word, I would really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Kind regards. Last one is captaincy.
Again, I'd give him a 5 simply because I felt that he did what the best he could under the circumstances. A 5, can't give him more than 5. I mean, really, for me, he hasn't done much more than that.
For you, your boy Aiden Markram.
I'm happy to go with that. Even from a captaincy perspective, try and inspire the people, lead from the front. His performance wasn't as good as we've seen from him last year. Obviously rallying up the troops when you're in the field. There were a few games where they probably let opportunities slip. So I'm happy. I mean, they can't be. They've ended up bottom of the table, haven't they?
Yep.
So we can't be giving them much more than a 5. I'm happy with a 5.
Yeah. Also, lots of hopes because personally, I was very high up on this team. Also on Markram, he's just won the South African T20. He captained his side. He captained brilliantly. So it's a bit of more of a disappointment simply because of the kind of form, both in captaincy and in batting, that he came into the tournament with. And that for me is a disappointment. For whatever reason, that didn't fructify at all. And that's the problem.
Okay, so should we look at the report card then? Here it is. Bring it on. 4.5, 5.5, 4.55. Joy will just add this all up and tell us.
19.5.
19.5 out of 40. That's it, got
40.
it. I don't have to go to the third umpire to see that. I know. Check it.
You see, at my varsity, that's a fail. They've got less than 50%.
Okay, in their schools, in their part of the world, if you get less than 50%, you fail. That would have been catastrophic for many of India's brightest young citizens now.
I was still been in class 6, I think. Just looking back.
No, I'm not talking about school. I'm talking about varsity.
Talking about?
Passing.
University.
University.
Oh, university. Okay. No, I did go. There the pass mark was, I think, 28 or something. And they just kept bringing it down. I just kept going to courses where the pass mark was like, just show up and we'll pass you. Right? We want minimal effort, maximum impact. All right, well, Mumbai team is taking a lap around Wankhede right now, I guess thanking their fans because whether they go through or they don't, it is their last game at Wankhede for this season. So, yeah, of course, those fans, they turn up in huge numbers and they only turn up wearing blue. Those are some pretty die-hard fans, yeah. They right now on the points table have climbed up to 4. They're there. It's Bangalore fans, yeah. Now you know exactly what needs to be done, right? Their net run rate, unfortunately, is still negative, which means that even if Bangalore wins by one run or one wicket, one ball to spare, they just need to win, basically. Yeah. And they go through. So, yeah, that's all. But they're up against table toppers Gujarat. That's who they're up against. So that's a big one for them because, yeah.
The other interesting thing is that how much, however well a ground drains, if the ball is slightly wet, Gujarat's bowling is their strength. And you probably may not be able to, grip the ball that well if the surface is continuously wet. So
yeah.
I think that suits Bangalore more than it suits Gujarat because Bangalore is a batting heavy team.
Yeah.
And they depend on that top 3 or 4 up front to really do the damage. So I think that if the game is held and the outfield is wet, it suits Bangalore more than it suits Gujarat.
But Polly, you know this Chinnaswamy outfield. We've heard that it's famous to drain really quickly and it dries up. Is that true? Is that accurate?
Yeah, the experiences I had there over the years was that it was pretty good, and then it did get rid of the water. I mean, you guys also in India tend to cover your surfaces a lot more than we do around the rest of the world. So often a lot of the surface water is taken to the outer peripheries and then dumped. So it can get its way out. But I suppose the challenge for the bowlers will be the ones that will be really concerned about the ball getting wet. And
Exactly.
It's not the easiest ground to bowl at the best of times.
Yeah.
Spinners-wise, it's going to be difficult to grip hold of that ball. And they're the ones who kind of have played the part or have to play the part. So it's going to be challenging. But, in the spirit of the tournament, it really feels like it's almost vital to get a game on the go. I just sometimes think in these situations, and it might be coming a little bit from left field, but because of the weather around, why not say we're going to play a 10-over game? It's from the outset. Because you're probably not going to get a 2020 game completed in the time. There's bound to be some more rain coming through. So what you want to do is almost make sure you get a game. So you can't restrict it. Because the last thing you want to happen is tonight we have 20 overs batted by the team who bats first, and then the rain comes down and we don't get a result. And in the context of this tournament as it stands, how important the result is, sometimes I think the common sense rule should apply. Say, listen, there's no real chance of us finishing the whole 20. Are you guys happy to start as a 10-over game and take it from there?
Yeah, true, because these days weather predictions are pretty accurate. Like it said thunderstorm at particular time and it came and you know how long it's going to be clear. Paulie's got a great point. What he's saying is that till 8:30 basically, if you start the game well within 8:30, you're not docked any overs. But the fact is if you know that it's going to rain again at 10:30, you can't get a full game in because games these days take between 3.5 to 4 hours to finish, especially the high pressure ones. You know there's enough of a window for a 10 plus 10 game, just do it from before. But that just would be so controversial, right? Because what if you finish that 10-over game and it doesn't rain for the next 30, 40 minutes? Your fans will just be up in arms.
I think it's a decision that it has to be offered by the match referee. But I think if the two captains understand the situation, I think they should be able to take that decision. I agree with him. Because see, finally, one team can't turn around. If a team turns around and says, no, I'm going to play by the book, then I think they have to all step back and say it is what it is. Okay. But if both captains come and say that, okay, further in is predicted, we are happy to play a 10-over game.
Yeah.
And the match referee offers it to them, I think it's a great idea.
Well, Bangalore, of course, in terms of the batting, we were talking about the Bangalore batting. It is a case of Jodi number one, Jodi number one. You know what that means, Polly? Jodi number one? Jodi is a pair. Jodi is a pair.
Inform me.
And number one is, number one? The number one pair. Who's the Jodi number one? Is it Duplessis Kohli or is it Duplessis Maxwell? Come on. Who is it? In terms of runs, of course, it's Faf and Virat. In terms of average, just a little bit, it's Faf and Glenn. Right? In terms of stands, in terms of, look at it, 4 and 3. So they've got... Faf and Glenn have got 4 century stands. But Faf and Kohli have got them off to a good start every time. Highest one. How do you pick one? I'll pick one. It's Virat and Faf. Which one is yours?
Yeah, I'll have to go for Virat and Faf. This is not just for this season. This is the greatest ever set of opening partnerships in the history, 15-year history of this tournament.
Oh, there you go. That's them then.
Yeah, 872 runs together is a sensational amount of runs. And they've scored the bulk of their runs there. And sometimes, we talk about RCB and say the RCB middle order doesn't perform. One of the reasons the RCB middle order doesn't perform is they don't get enough time out there in the middle to perform. You keep getting a situation where you're coming in and you've got 24 balls or 15 balls or 10 balls. Where are you going to build form from there?
That's the thing. I think that they should get out sometimes just to let the middle order bat. That's not going to happen. What about you? Faf and Virat for you? What a dream run they've had in this tournament.
Yeah. If you get off to that start all the time, consistently over the tournament, you've got to be in a good situation. I suppose the case in point goes down to it's kind of been the disease or the dilemma that they've had at RCB for so many years. I mean, you think of some of those batters that they've had at the top of the order, the starts they've got, the big runs that have been accumulated, but they've never gone on to win it. And today, if they don't get on or if they lose the game today, once again, those two partnerships at the top, to have those unbelievable steps, those unbelievable quantity of runs, and still not make it to the qualifying. That's the one there where you want to pull your hair out as an RCB fan. But definitely the top two. The two of them, if you get the team off to a good start as consistently as they have, we see CSK, for example, how consistent they've been. That definitely does set things up for you as a team in these T20 tournaments.
Yeah, it's really going to hurt, isn't it? It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt all of them because no matter what the batters do at the top, they haven't been able to translate that into trophy. Can they do it this year? Well, Faf, of course, has been in just screaming form, and you can just pretty much super glue that orange cap onto his head because that's where he's going to end up. But on the other side, the GOAT, the king, VK, with his 100 in that previous game in a winning chase, of course, that was amazing. That was a happy 100.
It was a happy 100. It was 100 under a serious amount of pressure because they had to win that game and they had to win it well and they just crushed them. And the two of them, the way they played, and I think, the dominant Virat, okay, what we call Virat of 2019.
Yeah.
For the first time I felt, you've seen glimpses of it, but this is the first time I felt this was the Virat who absolutely destroyed opposition,
Yeah.
2018, 2019, he was internationally, he was a dominant player, the greatest chaser perhaps in the history of one-day international cricket. And I think that's what he's bought, that form he's bought in. If he lasts, and it's a perfect time in the tournament to get that form.
Yeah.
Now, the only question is, I'm so glad that their future is now, if the match happens, at least their future is in their hands.
Absolutely. And Virat will be very excited that it's happening at Chinnaswamy because this is a ground that he gets a few in. 92 innings, 3,015 runs. He's got 23 50s here. Just take a moment for that to sink in. 23 50s and 300s. He is just, he loves this ground. And Gujarat will see that, and the Gujarat bowlers will know that, and will hope that this happy relationship ends in a breakup today for Gujarat. But you know what? They're top of the table. So actually, it's Mumbai hoping more that this love affair doesn't get another glorious chapter, which is Bangalore and Virat. But I just want to talk to Polly about one thing. This pair, right? We talk about Faf and Virat, and obviously they're both batting beautifully. But look at them. One closer to 40 than he is to 35. The other closer to 35 than he is to 30. They're running like a bunch of 20-year-olds, both of them.
Yeah, they've always prided themselves on fitness, both of them. I mean, their physiques are in wonderful condition. So that is the part. And that's the element you can control as an opening pair. Sometimes you can't control if you can pick out the boundaries or whack the ball out the ground, but you can control your running between the wickets and the intensity that you bring to that partnership when you walk to the crease. So Virat's stats there says, basically, once every third knock, to Chinnaswamy, he's getting a 50 or 100. So that's real consistency as well. And, I think if you had to say to Virat, who's your two favourite international cricketers, obviously outside of the Indian team? There's two South Africans, AB de Villiers and Faf du Plessis, who he pretty much enjoys playing with.
Yeah, that's true. And they're both friends, both of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
From school days, etc.
Yeah.
So maybe Virat went to that school as well and we don't know. Maybe he did.
He did it online.
What?
Did it online, he says.
Online. He got more than 50% then. Otherwise, he would not have passed, as Polly just told us. All right, the news is that we're talking about Virat batting in Chinnaswamy, Faf batting in Chinnaswamy. We're going to see that pretty soon because Gujarat has won the toss and put Bangalore into bat. So they're going to be batting first. I guess that is advantage Gujarat in what but perhaps could be a rain-shortened game. If it's a rain-shortened game, you always want to be batting second. So I think that's perhaps just one thing for Bangalore, which has not gone their way even before the game begins.
I agree because, in these kind of circumstances, you don't know what's happening. You want the weather to be under your control. You want to walk out when you want to bat. So I think that's important. The only thing is, at least Bangalore doesn't have to bother about run rate. All that's out of the window.
Yeah, true.
So they just have to say, okay, we've got to win it. We've got to put enough runs on the board to be able to defend it.
Yeah, which, of course, is the tricky thing in Chinnaswamy, right, Polly? What are good runs on the board? You could overthink
So
it.
that's true. I think it's a massive advantage to be able to bowl first. Firstly, you'll know what you have to chase it. So there's a good chance that the game will be shortened again. You'll lose some overs. I think that surface has been under the covers for a period of time as well. So there's no doubt there's probably a little bit of moisture underneath there. And that could play its part. And then what is a good score? You never quite know. And even in a shorter game, you're less likely to have a good understanding. But they have to try and eliminate that and just go out and play as they have throughout the season so far. Try and lay a good foundation, and then hope like hell that Maxwell comes really good. When he does get his opportunity, he is that guy who can fire it at a 250, 300 strike rate, and he could be the one who could really make them post something substantial because they'll want that to have as a buffer.
What's interesting is in the power play that an unstoppable force will be coming up against an unstoppable force. I'm talking about the opening partnership of Bangalore and Mohammad Shami from Gujarat. Shami and Rashid both on top. See, that's what was Dooley saying yesterday? Batters win you matches, but bowlers win you tournaments, winning championships. Yeah. And both of them are, 46 between them? And then you add Mohit Sharma as well, who's got 17 odd. So that's
in the top 10.
Yeah, there you go. 3 bowlers in the top 10. And Shami specifically in the power play. Because Shami in the power play, his hobby is to take a wicket. And Bangalore will not want that. Bangalore does not want to lose one, God forbid, 2 of their 3 guns in the power play because that's then pretty much game set, if not match.
A, that. B is that you might just see, for just the reasons what Polly was talking about, the pitch is sweat because for a long time, 8-9 hours, if they're under the cover, there's heat stuck in between.
Yuck.
Okay? And there's moisture. So there's a little bit in the pitch. What you might see is that Rashid, because the ball might get wet later, they might bring him in slightly earlier, maybe even in the power play time, get a couple of overs of Rashid because after the later you go, the more difficult it will be for him to grip the ball. Yeah. Because if the outfield is wet. So interesting, both their top guns may be deployed during the power play. And that will be interesting.
That's so interesting. But on the other side, Polly, there's also young Mohammad Siraj who's been very, very impressive this year.
And indeed, and I've actually liked most of his performances. I know he picked up a big wicket haul out from Chinnaswamy, but I think his attitude where he runs in those power plays has been impressive for me. He really charges and he tries to make things happen. And his stats, they're not as good as Shami's, but no one else really is as good as Shami's have been so far this season. So I've enjoyed what I've seen from him. I love his energy. I've always enjoyed him as a cricketer, and they'll need a big performance when they do put something on the board from him. The other thing for Gujarat Titans is, from a management perspective, whenever you're trying to put your team together, you're kind of thinking, okay, how can we try and dominate the power play, the first 6 overs? How can we dominate the middle overs? And then how can we dictate terms at the death? Those are the kind of 3 phases that you break it up into. And when you look at them, Shami has been so good in that initial power play. Rashid's been so good in the middle. The amount of wickets that they've taken. So those departments have kind of been taken care of. And at the death, they haven't been too bad. And that's why they've been so successful. And Dooley's right. Us bowlers, we win championships.
Yes. I like how he changes, right? So when it's all round, he says, I'm all round. When it's bowling, he says, I'm bowler. I love it. He's like a palm tree in the window, Polly. Yeah. But in terms of batters, well, Gujarat have a contender for orange cap as well. There's Shubman Gill. Did you see Polly's palm tree impression?
Yeah, he was like, he was swaying out there. It's like Michael Holding was bowling and he's just getting out of the way.
If Michael Holding is bowling, you have to get out of the way. Let's see how much behind he is actually. I'm quite interested in.
I think he's 576. He was on 500.
Yeah, so I think he's a bit behind.
Yeah, 576, that's what
because Duplessis is 700 runs plus. So Shubman is about 130 odd, 125 odd behind. So he's about 125 odd behind, but he has had a ripper of a season.
Yeah, look, I think he's going up year by year. And if you see his season, just don't look at the IPL. Just look at what he's done before that. Yeah. How many players in the world have, in a single, in 6 months' time, got a one-day century, got a test century, got a T20 international century?
He's got 6 centuries. Yeah. So, 6 centuries.
Just absolutely.
Just this calendar year.
Yeah.
It's not even 6 months in.
Yeah. An amazing form. The kind of form he is in, he's just looking set, and every time you actually see him get out, you're disappointed because he always looks as if he's going to go on and get 100. That's the kind of form he's in.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, that they have to exploit it, because I feel Riddhiman has played a couple of absolute, blinders. But Riddhiman is punching above his weight.
Yeah.
Whereas Shubman is a finished article. He can get you centuries. So they almost feel that Riddhiman overachieves, but Shubman's upside is so high that they still think he's going to go even higher,
Yeah.
This 700 is not too far for a player of his quality.
Yeah, well, I have some bad news for you.
It's raining again?
The covers are on. Yeah. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put the covers on as well and take a nap. This is just, It's going to be a frustrating evening like this, isn't it?
It is.
Just is.
Yes, think
See,
about
this is why I play a 5-over game. 5-over game. Start a 5-over game now, just to make sure you get a result.
But now you can't start any game because the covers are on.
the 5-over game will start at 10:56.
That's when the 5-over game starts. In 3 hours from now. Yeah? So just hang around. I could tell you the toss did happen and Gujarat was bowling first. And much like we talk about the Chennai team, we talk about the Gujarat team. Any changes? No. Let's move on to the next team. They haven't. No changes for Gujarat.
No changes?
Never. When do they?
No, I love it because they don't need to make changes. And also what that does is, in fact, the one we were discussing was Noor Ahmed. Does he stay in the 11 or not? Because, the way they're looking at him as a player, Chinnaswamy is a small ground, but they've decided to go with him. And that's interesting because they've kept that attack of Rashid, two leggies bowling with either hand. And, I just like the fact that they back whoever they put all the way through.
Yeah, like they've got Dasan Chanaka in, even though he didn't get kind of much of a chance, but they're playing with him, which means he has to play in place of Alzari Joseph or Josh Little. They like both of them and they both have done well. But it's like when they get to a plan, they stick to it. They're like, we don't really need to change it. But I'll tell you another thing. I've always believed that teams that are winning actually play with about 9 or 10 players, right? They have the luxury to just carry somebody with them, right? They don't need everybody to dig deep and pitch in. Classic case in point is Chennai Super Kings. MS plays for his captaincy and his wicket keeping, right?
Yeah.
They don't even need his batting, right? They don't. He's one of the greatest finishers, one of the greatest bats we've ever seen. But he's there in Chennai saying, I am here as the CEO. I don't need to do no sales business. I don't need no sales.
Yeah, absolutely. And I come in, of course, in the contract it is that every ground that he has to go to, he's got to play at least 6 balls because otherwise, that's in the contract. I mean, Jadeja has to get out, poor chap.
I want more. I want 12. I want at least 12. Anyway, coming back to Bangalore, let's see what they've done with their team. They made a couple of changes. There's Vijay Kumar Vishak, who is in, and Dinesh Karthik is playing today. So that's interesting. They're going to be batting first. So
basically what happened is Shahbaz Ahmed has gone out.
Yeah.
And they've strengthened the batting because they feel that Shahbaz Ahmed in a small ground like this could travel, because anyway, spinners are going to find it difficult on this pitch. They've kept Bracewell, but Harshal Patel, Vishak, because they need the extra fast bowler, they're really looking at, this has got to be, I don't think spin, they're also fearful that, bowlers will find it difficult to grip.
They will get... in the impact subs, they probably will get one spinner in.
Yeah,
will they get a spinner?
They've got Bracewell already. Have a look there. They've already got Bracewell there. And who else do they have?
We don't...
Who's the impact subs?
There's Karan Sharma. We haven't got that in as yet. Yeah. But anyway, right now, I'm going to play a new guessing game, right? Because we don't know how long this game will be, so I can't ask you what the score will be. I want to ask you what time the game will begin. Put in your time guesses now. Okay, your 10-minute window.
I'm going to go for, it's 7:59 now. I'm going to go for, they're going to go in quarter of an hour margins because they're not going to go. So I'll say 9 o'clock we'll start. 9
o'clock. Okay, 1 hour from now. Polly, what about you?
I'm going 9:15.
I wanted to go 9:15, yeah. What do I do now? I'm going to go 8:38.
Don't go 8:38. They'll never start in odd times.
Yeah, but maybe they start 8:40. Okay. They have started before, like at 40 past, no? Don't they? It doesn't.
Normally they don't. It's quarter or...
They inspect in 15 over chunks, but they can start, can't they start at like 10 past 9?
Normally these...
8:20?
Because umpires have difficulty in calculating the time and all that. So they prefer nice 9:15, half an hour. I'm 45. Ask Polly. I don't think he's seen too much in international cricket of, odd time starts.
I'm going to ask, I want to check with the umpires if what Joy is saying is true. Is it true? Is it true that you do this? You can't read a watch.
Yeah, I must admit,
Oh,
I've never
I get
seen
it
a
now.
never start.
Polly, I get it. That's why they keep pointing to their watches through the game. Because they're like, can somebody read the time for us, please? Oh, I got it now. I got it. I'm kidding. These umpires are very sweet. They're good friends of mine. It's fine. We're just kidding. All right, that's it. I think we're going to go now.
Yeah. And wait.
Yeah, I guess we'll come back at 8:38. No, 8:45.
Yeah.
No, 9. 9:20. 9:40. 10:10.
This is, as they say, Dustin
10:56.
Dustin East time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the last thing we can do is come back at 10:56. Because if by 10:56 a 5-over game has not started, means it is over. Shut her down. So I guess we'll see you when we see you. Yeah.
I said Dustin East time because, all the Bangalore supporters are kneeling and praying.
Oh, dust your knees time.
Dusty knees.
Okay, dusty knees time. I heard Dustin's niece. I was like, Dustin Hoffman has a niece? Like, how do you know her? Like, what's going on? I don't understand.
Life is strange.
Did she graduate with you? Hey!
If Dustin's niece, might be just about my age.
It's a good joke, huh? It's the graduate joke. Hey, listen, you guys can carry on with your lives. We're just ramping, We're just chilling. We're just chilling. You can roll the credits if you want. Have you seen The Graduate, Polly?
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲು
Hyderabad Superfast Express
পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন
कृपया ध्यान दें